Happy Wednesday, everyone. I wanted to pop in here real quick. I know a couple people from the book club group. I told them I was going live. And I kind of wanted to talk, my topic, which I will edit after the video, is you are not your feelings. Hello, whoever popped on. I cannot see who it is, so I just wanted to say hello. You are not your feelings. So why is this important? What does this mean? So some of the stuff that I've seen and heard about feelings and about how when feelings come up, they're super intense. And a lot of times, a lot of the works that I do with my clients, like I have people that are depressed or sad. It's important to know that sadness is very different from depression. Depression is something that's ongoing, whereas sadness and experiencing a sad situation is a little bit different. There are also diagnoses and things like that for like situational depression, where there could be grief for a family member or something like that passes, or illness or things like that. And that can create a depression, but overall depression is a longer period of time versus experiencing like a short-term sadness. So it's important to know the difference. In one of the things that I want to talk about today in terms of wisdom and helping you kind of grow is that you are not your feelings. So your feelings, you can feel like sometimes your feelings are in control of you, or the feelings are driving the bus. And so what I'm here to tell you is that feelings are temporary. Feelings are created within us, right? So our response to specific situations, our thought processes can create our feelings. So for example, if, and I can use myself as an example because my dad passed in March of last year. And a lot, whenever you think about somebody dying, right? So a lot of things can come up in terms of feelings, and you can have this intense sadness, this intense emotion. If you don't know how to handle your feelings, this is where a lot of people can get wrapped up in eating or inappropriately coping with food, right? However, again, because of my training, one of the things I knew was that this feeling will pass. If I'm able to let it out, cry it out, experience the feelings, they will subside. And this is where a lot of people don't have this skill, because you may have been taught culturally, socially, in your family, and so on and so forth, that it's not appropriate to cry, it's not appropriate to show anger, it's not appropriate to feel whatever feelings that you're feeling. And the truth is, you need to feel those feelings. You need to experience those feelings in order to allow them to release and move on. So it's important to know that your feelings are temporary, right? And one of my favorite motivational speakers, Eric Thomas, he has a video, and I can share it if you guys want to see it. And if you do, just let me know in the comments below, and I'll make sure that I post it. But he says, do not let your emotions control you, because if you allow your emotions to control you, you'll end up in a completely different place than you originally intended, because your goal is to go in a specific direction. And then of course something happens off track, and it could be a bill, it could be a family member, it could be a child, it could be something, and then whoop, you're off track. And I don't necessarily mean in terms of bariatrics or eating. It could be anything. It could be that your emotions cause you to not perform well at work, whatever it is. But of course, it does include the emotional eating piece and the food piece as well. But it could be that, oh my gosh, I'm just so overwhelmed that I can't go to the gym today. Or, I'm so overwhelmed. And I saw another post today that was like, life is hard. This is hard. And I have quite a few clients, one today, she was like, oh my gosh, this is just so hard. And I was like, yes. And what I think is important is that we get past hard, right? Because there's so many things in life that are going to be hard. And if we focus on how hard it is, then we're not going to get past hard. So what we need to do is kind of, again, practice gaining back control over our emotions so that, and I'm going to use the term conquering them, right? They're still going to be there where emotions will pop up. Emotions are, kind of like a roller coaster where they're going to be up and down and up and down. But it's important that we recognize, I'll be out in just a second, okay? It's important that we recognize when, the emotions are heightened, how to deal with them, because they will subside. And then when they come up again, how to deal with them, and they will subside. And so they are temporary, right? Any kind of emotion, because in any kind of situation that I promise you've ever been in, I know for myself, usually within, 24 to 48 hours, it passes. In terms of situations, things that are external from outside of ourselves, right? Because the situation, now if it's a long-term stress, it might not subside in 2 or 3 days. It just depends. But again, we've got to look at, this is almost like an endurance, right? And I'm speaking about bariatrics, and at the same time, I'm not speaking about bariatrics, because a lot of the things that impact weight loss surgery patients sometimes don't necessarily have to do directly with the food, or they do not have anything to do directly with the exercise. It's life stuff that happens. And then you're like, okay, I'm following this track here. I'm kind of on the straight and narrow, and I'm doing this. And then all of a sudden, like, woo, something comes in and kind of detracts you or distract you. I'm glad that you're here. I hope that this is helping. But what I'm trying to say is that it's about, and when I say gaining control of your emotions, I do not mean stuffing them down. I do not mean ignoring them or not feeling them. What I mean is being able to, when you're in it, let's say an overwhelm state, this is a good example, where you're able to break things down into smaller pieces and say, okay, I may not be able to get all of this done today. What's step one? Let me start there, and kind of like calming yourself down. If you're in an anxious state, that you have tools in your toolbox to deal with the anxiety. If you're experiencing extreme sadness, like a loss, or, what can I do about this situation, that you're able to cope with those emotions, right? And also that you're going to be able to recognize, like, okay, this is going to pass. This is temporary. This is not going to be around forever. And what do I need to do to deal with this? And here's another, such an important question that I asked, and I kid you not, this was one of my clients' goals for this week for him to work on, is because he's having trouble at work, right? And it's overwhelming him. And I told him, I said, okay, I want you to ask yourself 2 questions. What do I have control over, right? So he's asking himself, what do I have control over in this situation? And what do I need to do? That's one question. Question number 2, what do I not have control over? And what can I let go, right? Because we sometimes try to control things that we have no control over. Right? There are some things that we have no control over. We get frustrated, we get mad, and experiencing human emotions. I'm all about, experience your emotions. I'm definitely not the stuff them down type of person. Definitely advocate for my clients to get their feelings out. However, hey Sharon, thanks for being here. So I definitely encourage for people to get them out. However, we cannot control everything in the universe. And a lot of times we try to control things that we're unable to control. And the truth is, it's like that song, Let It Go. Like, I almost started singing with him on Monday because he was one of my Monday clients. I was like, you have just got to let this go. Like, you do need to set better boundaries with your boss, but you also have to understand that the institution that you work for has a certain, rules and regulations, and you are doing the best you can. So take a deep breath in. Out through your mouth. I am doing the best that I can with what I have. I am doing everything that I need to do, right? So And he was like, yes, you're right. And I'm like, okay. So when you check in on a daily basis with yourself, are you doing what you need to do that you have control over? Yes. Okay, great. Stuff that you don't have control over, if you need to escalate it to somebody else, escalate it to somebody else. If it's something that you can't do anything with, let it go. Let it go. And that is a practice, especially for perfectionists and for those of us, because I'm, in this box too. I'm human too. So when we experience stressful situations that we're like, oh my gosh, I have to handle this, sometimes there's nothing for us to do. So we have to let it go or escalate it or pass it along or just, do you know what I mean? Like, there's nothing we could do. Let it go. And that's hard because we want to control. The other thing about control is that here's something that's very fascinating. I want you guys to know this. So everybody watching the replay, pay attention. When we have control issues, because this is an obese mindset of thinking, okay? When you have control issues, there are things that you feel that you are not in control of, right? So let's say eating, right? So because you feel maybe out of control with eating, there are other things in your life that you will over control because you feel so out of control in this area of your life. So I want you to take a look at your life. What areas do you try to manipulate and over control? And what areas do you feel you have no control? And so a lot of times what happens psychologically is when there's an area of life that someone feels out of control, then they do their best to over control or become a control freak, and another area of their life to overcompensate. So that's why it's sometimes hard to let go of things that you have no control over, because you have this issue actually with control. And it's not willpower. It's more about what do I need to be disciplined on and what does not need discipline, right? But this is a whole other topic. So going back to emotions. But the control issue is kind of part of the emotional piece. So feelings are temporary. Feelings do not last. Hey, Sherry, forever. It's important that that's why I'm so into my clients journaling, and I'm telling them journal, or because you've got to get out of your head. You've got to get out of your head, right? When you're in your head in an emotional state, it's like bing, 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 bing. You're not necessarily getting anywhere. It's just kind of shaking around, and the emotions are bubbling up. And when you're in your head, it's in an intellectual space, and you've got to get out of your head because you're going to try to all of the defense mechanisms, and I know I'm using psychobabble and I'm sorry, but all of the defense mechanisms, the rationalization, the justification, all of that stuff happens in your head. But when you're able to say, okay, this is going to pass, I'm going to feel the feelings, I'm going to kind of work through this, and it's, feelings are deceiving, this is temporary, I'm going to move past this and actually build out a plan that's more logical and less emotional. We are emotional beings. I completely understand. I'm an emotional person too. And I get that way too. Thank God for my husband who's like, Kristen, this is going to be okay. You're going to get past this. You're going to get past this. And so sometimes what we need is just that other person in our life to say, this too shall pass. This too shall pass. We will get past it. Now go to the gym, right? You're going to get through this. Now get your butt on the treadmill. Because again, what we try to do is we're so in our emotions that then there's the justification. Well, I'm so overwhelmed, I can't possibly go to the gym. Or I'm so overwhelmed, I absolutely have to have that piece of chocolate. So here's where it comes back to bariatrics and weight loss surgery. So when you're able to process your feelings, then, and I suggest to my clients, the best medicine when you're messed up in the head, and what I mean by that is when you're overly emotional, is to go for a walk, is to go exercise, because you can get out of your head and you feel so much better, because the endorphins, the physiological piece, it totally changes your mindset. So if you're ever struggling, that's when you really need to work out, not when you need to stay home and sulk. So it's the exact opposite of what you think you want to do. No, when you're struggling, get out there. It doesn't have to be a hard workout. It's just go for a walk, clear your head. You're gonna feel better. That's my go-to for myself. That's my go-to for my clients. Get moving, get moving, get moving, because it gets you out of your head. It creates a state change, right? And that's what we want to create, is an emotional state change. Put on some music, creates an emotional state change. You are not your feelings. Your feelings are a part of you. They are not you. They do not define you. And so when you're having a rough day, what's the other saying that I love, and I've posted it? A bad day does not mean a bad life, right? So we all have bad days. We all have days that are like, it sucks. We've got to know that this too shall pass. This day will end and another day will come and we get a fresh start. So don't do things based on how you feel, like in terms of a negative, because I think if you're like, I'm just going to quit, or that's the place that a lot of people go when they're in a down mood or a low mood or an anxious mood, is the decisions are not thoroughly thought out. So, sorry, somebody called me. This is what I'm thinking, write it out and then go for a walk and come back and look at it, right? So you want to make sure that you're bringing in, that you're able to get past the emotions. So if you're having a rough day, that's why writing it out, and also remembering, what you're capable of in a positive way. So like you could have a rough day. So yesterday, one of my clients, she's like, this happened. I know better. I'm such an idiot. Da, 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 da. And I'm like, no, you're not. No, you're not. And the more that you say that, right? I'm like, no, you're not. And so she just kind of thought all these negative things. And I said, listen, your past does not indicate your future. Your past is not indicative of your future. But if you keep living in the past, you're going to recreate the past. And I don't know about you, but I'm not trying to recreate the past. So I am suggesting we've got to do something differently. If you do what you've always done, you get what you've always got. I can quote these quotes all day long, right? But it's not about the quotes. It's about us doing something different. So instead of going to that old place where I'm stupid, I'm an idiot, I suck, I'm going to be fat forever, can't believe I do this to myself. No. In this moment, I make a conscious choice to change. And that is maybe to make a list of all the awesome qualities that you have. Or maybe that's, all the accomplishments that you've had. That's why I include the NSVs and the successes in the accountability workbook on purpose. Because you can have an absolutely fabulously shitty week and still have successes. And you have to acknowledge the good with the bad. But guess what, guys? This little frontal cortex, our brains, is stimulated by negativity. So if you think you've had a horrible day, wherever, yes, I know. This is what I do. Stimulated by negativity. And then it goes down the rabbit hole. And then everything is like over, right? And no. Come back. Your brain is stimulated by the negativity. And then that's all you see. It's almost like you're sucked into negativity. No. So this is what we really need to objectively do. Feelings are subjective. They're subjective. They're not objective, right? Because if you were to go say, give me five reasons why you love Tina, or 5 reasons why you love Sherry, or who else was on here? Sharon, so give me 5 reasons why you love them. Somebody will give you 5 reasons of why you're awesome. But today you're like, I totally suck. So the truth is, our feelings are subjective and they are opinions. They're not facts. And so what I want you guys to do is, when you're in a funk, to get out of your head and to do something different, to write down the silver lining, the lessons you're learning from this situation, because that's typically where I go is, okay, this is a funk, this is crap. Dear God, what can I take from this? What can I learn from this? Because I'm supposed to be learning something. What is it I'm supposed to be learning? Because I definitely don't want to be repeating it. So this is what I'm sharing with you today. We've got to get you out of your head, to shift the thinking, go for a walk, get out of your head. Your emotions do not define you. And how you feel, doing based on your feelings will not typically get you where you want to go, right? Because usually it's like, oh, I'm just going to sit here and I guess I'm just going to eat some ice cream. No, not going to help you. Not going to get you where you want to go. Definitely not going to make you feel like a success. It's just going to make you feel worse. So have a couple different action steps written down that are your go-to, tools. Go for a walk around the house, do whatever it is, call a friend, make your list to get out of your head. Come in here, ping us, right? Hey, I need some help. That's what you've got to do, okay? Because your feelings are temporary. They're not permanent. They will change. This too shall pass. And tomorrow is going to be a better day. So that's what I've got for you guys today. I hope I'm going to share this actually in the book club group. I don't know if people will be able to see it, but anybody was able to pop on. So I hope that you guys have a great Wednesday night. And if you have any other questions, post them below and I'm happy to answer them. And I just love you guys. Thank you for being here. All right. I hope that helped.